Right. Good afternoon, everyone. Sure, I think you must be exhausted listening to us since morning. This is the last presentation of the day. So, my name is Janardhan Molumuri. I'm a lead TAM in strategic guys segment, advising customers on cloud transformation journey. Joining me, Osama today.
So, my name is Osama Munir. I am Senior Technical Account Manager also, and I am focusing on ISV customers and for almost 2.5 years with the AWS.
Great. So we want to take this opportunity to talk about Amazon Q, the new generative AI-powered assistant from AWS, which got released in preview as part of reInvent last year and went GA as of April 30th. Here is the brief agenda. We'll briefly talk about like generative AI on AWS and what are the typical challenges that you see with generative AI applications and how Amazon Q help address them. And then we'll dive into two capabilities of Amazon Q Business and Amazon Q Developer. And then we'll wrap up with any questions that you may have. So if you look at the industry today, so generative AI is one of the most transformative technology of this digital age. If you look at every organization, customer, user, or leader thinking about generative AI on how to innovate and improve productivity and also delight customer experience. A recent Gartner study shows that the generative AI supported work tends to be highly efficient, of higher quality, and also improves productivity by an average of 30%. So if you look at AWS, AWS has a comprehensive stack to serve the growing needs of our customers. We have a three-layered stack. The bottom layer, as you can see on the screen, is infrastructure, which has services such as SageMaker, foundation services such as SageMaker, and advanced chips such as Trainium and Inferentia to train and build models. Nothing but models, which are at the core and foundation of generative AI. And the middle layer, we have services and tools such as Amazon Bedrock, which is a fully managed service that makes foundation models available through an API. Today, it supports various first-party models and also third-party models from leading model providers, such as Anthropic. And at the top of the layer, we have applications. So today, we'll talk about Amazon Q. Amazon Q is a generative AI-powered assistant from AWS that helps address customer needs in the context of productivity and also works with your enterprise data. So when you talk about generative AI applications, it's important to look at what are the typical challenges that you see with general purpose applications. So a lot of times, these generative AI applications or chat assistants in the industry lacks customer context. It doesn't understand your data or your code or does not provide any insights from your own organization data. In addition, when you look at generative AI applications, security and privacy is utmost important. We should make sure that the guardrails and the controls are in place, and also provide a seamless interface to administrators so that they can control security posture. And in addition, one need to look at the applications are compliant with organizational compliance requirements. So these are some of the challenges that you tend to see with general purpose applications, which are chat assistants. And to address these challenges, AWS has released Amazon Q, as I said, which got released in preview as part of reInvent last year, went GA as of 30th April. And it can help answer questions from your data and accelerate development, generate insights, generate new content, and also can take actions across systems. So Amazon Q, when we released, it has several areas of expertise. We have Amazon Q Business and Amazon Q in QuickSight can help draw insights from your data and streamline tasks and make actions. In addition, we have Amazon Q Developer that can accelerate software development and help as an AI companion for your developers and also IT professionals. In addition, we have Amazon Q in supply chain coming soon that can help inventory managers, supply chain staff in order to make intelligent decisions throughout the supply chain. So these are some of the capabilities of Amazon Q and how it can improve and address customer needs. So today we will dive into Amazon Q Business and Amazon Q Developer. So let's get started with Amazon Q Business.
So hi everyone. So I will be doing the part of Amazon Q business overview. So Amazon Q was introduced on our prestigious event, which is reInvent 2023. It is one of the cutting edge generative AI solution for you. So once we call about solution, we are making sure that it is covering all the areas around infrastructure as well as the like bedrock and all those kind of complexities. So it is basically all about unlock insights from your data and optimize operations at a rapid speed. Um, the main idea is like we can empower you with the innovation and grow your business as fast as possible using generative AI techniques. So on the high level, if we see that it's you can consider Amazon Q Business as a personal digital assistant that has both the features from the admin perspective as well as from the side of end user. So once we talk about the end user perspective, the first thing comes to our mind is conversational question answering, which means that which means that you have all the grounds covered where you have all the data from your enterprise and you are going to have a conversational search on top of your data. The second thing which is important here is like you can whenever we are working in an organization, we have different number of tools and plugins where we go and need to do a lot of creating workflows, creating tickets, and so on. So for that, we have integrations with Zendesk or Salesforce, Jira, and so on. From the admin perspective, the best part is like it is a fully managed permission-aware service. So it allows integration with more than 40 plus data sources on which we can apply with a vector index database out of the box. So you don't have to worry about it. And then the best part of it is like it applies the guardrails which are on your data. For example, a IT person can access with its own limitations. Similarly, a security person have access to their own level. So the IAM, identity and access management, is fully integrated into your data as well as the search data or the LLM based data which we have available is available to the resources. And last things which I would highly like to tell about the overview feature is like it's a very streamlined process. You don't have to go through the cumbersome process of integrations and deployment of LLMs and so on. So now we are going to like discuss about the building connectors with safety and security. So here, one challenge which we face in our organizations is the data silos, which brings a lot of common challenges. For example, information is scattered all across the resources. There is no one place where we can work around that information. So what Amazon Q brings to on the table is making sure that all of the connectors which you are seeing, applying the right level of guardrails from the security perspective, a user can pull all that information in a more natural language way. For example, today you want to know that what kind of AWS regions are supported in my AWS account and so on. So it can pull all the information for you and show you in a more descriptive way. The major thing here is like
what we can see in this very high level 10,000 feet diagram is like we need to do a lot of information gathering. For example, first of all, scheduling periodic sync operations, keep on getting the newer data from the external sources, convert into semantic-based databases as a vector database, and then we have to apply the permissions not only from the AWS perspective, but also from the local user groups in your organization, making sure that not so security is the top priority. As we have gone through all of the session from the morning, security has been the top priority discussed, and Amazon Q and Bedrock and everything is built on those phenomena. Another aspect of at least my daily life is like I have to continuously switch the context between different applications, keep on moving around the stuff. So one more thing which I highly appreciate or like from my perspective is that you have plugins available. So for example, if we have discussed something in that meeting and we have ended up creating some kind of meeting notes and we want to create the tickets. So you can write in a natural language way that I want to create a ticket on the basis of the action points which we have noted in the meeting or the summary of meetings, or we want to run a spike about what do you think about this idea or XYZ idea. So all of this is kind of supported in Amazon Q, where it will bring you the GUI of the Jira ticket. It will self-populate about the information that has been already put in the NLP way. So this is something which is gonna build more and more. Today we support Zendesk, Salesforce, Jira, and ServiceNow to create the tickets, but in the future, we can see like a lot of workflows, business processes can be integrated. So now, what it is bringing on the table, that is more important part. So we are talking about its faster time to value. The first thing is like whenever I talk about LLM is a trained model, but how I am going to use? There are APIs available, but that is generic information. So you need to build a full retrieval augmented generation process, which means you need to have a vector database. You need to make sure that you are going to have a clarity around it, like its administrative work is quite huge. So all of that is encapsulated for you in Amazon Q for Business. On top of it, Amazon Q for Business today can generate templates in the form of CloudFormation, from which you can spin the AWS even the infrastructure that you want to do. So in a nutshell, what I am talking about here is that I'm talking about three-step process. You click on create application, you connect to your data source, you just start the crawler on your website or on your data like flat files or S3 or Microsoft or Google OneDrive. You get all that data in one place and that's it. That's the level of work that is needed in Amazon Q. Another thing which I would highly highlight here that enterprise support customers, all the TAMs are getting well equipped with this knowledge. You can ask your TAMs any day and we can run the full-fledged demo sessions with you. So here I come back to my last slide of Amazon Q. So we are unleashing the power of Amazon Q, but what personas that it is going to what will be your organization look like or to be the organization? So as an engineer, for example, I want to effortlessly don't want to log into a specific account to find out, hey, what are the AWS regions or available services or deployment locations available in my account? How about I just write this information in a chatbot and it picks the information from my account? Similarly, as a marketing manager, I have a content, I have brought a raw document, I want a summary of it. a social media post of it. I want an image to be generated, which will be coming sooner. Similarly, you want to make sure that content is generated every now and then, and it is around your company's data. So all that information is huge for the personas like marketing managers, product marketing managers, and so on. And then we have another thing which is which we call as like from the data scientist perspective, from the people who are doing a lot of analytical processes. You can upload your data of the two results and say that what do you see the summary of around it? What are the results differences? All that information it can process and provide you the information. And with the passage of time, the technology is getting better and better. So the last thing I would say, like the future of productivity is around Gen AI, as we are talking about. So Amazon took another step on top of it to make sure that Amazon Q is hiding all the complexity and giving you a diverse portfolio. So I will hand over to Janny for Amazon Q developer.
Thank you, Osama. So when you look at the application layer, we keep talking about. So Amazon Q business is addressing the needs of employee productivity. So it can address needs of employee personas ranging from marketing, sales, and HR and others. So we also have another capability called Amazon Q Developer, which is designed to address the productivity of developers and IT professionals as part of software development lifecycle. So when you talk about software development lifecycle, so increasing developer productivity is one of the prominent theme when you talk about generative AI. So when generative AI came to momentum, it all started with accelerating code. How can you write code faster? So that's how it started. But when you look at the software development lifecycle as a whole, it comes with multiple stages. So a recent Gartner study shows that 27% of the time is really spent on innovation and transformation, whereas 73% of the time is spent on running and maintaining applications. So how can we how can we bring generative AI so that we can address the problems of the entire software development lifecycle in a holistic way? So if you look at software development lifecycle or SDLC, it's a flywheel. It comes with several stages. As you can see, it has a planning stage, which typically involves researching, finding out what's the product is all about, what's the solution, what's the problem. And subsequently, you start creating. In other words, it's like developing code, writing code. And then once you write code, then you test and securely deploy them. And subsequently, you operate the workloads on AWS, and then maintaining and modernization. So as you can see, it's a flywheel. It never stops. So you have new softwares, new packages, new libraries that keep coming, and you have to upgrade to the latest and greatest so that you're getting the maximum value out of the new softwares in terms of performance, cost, or security. So Amazon Q Developer is designed in a way to address the needs of each and every stage so that you can leverage Q Developer as a true expert companion sitting beside you to accelerate and improve productivity. So Amazon Q Developer, as you see, it reimagines the entire software development lifecycle experience. It can help developers, IT professionals to write code faster, debug applications, test applications. And not only that, security is utmost important. Right? It's one of the top priority at AWS. So it is built with security and privacy in mind. And when you interact with Q Developer, we do not take your code and train the underlying models. So we'll make sure that your data is not stored or used to train our models. So let's start with the planning stage. So when you look at development on AWS, building an application on AWS, as of today, we have more than 200 services with thousands of features across these services. So It requires a lot of effort to understand, okay, what service to use, what is the architecture to use, what is the best practice, what is the deployment pattern that I can consume so that I can adopt in my application. So Amazon Q comes with a chat interface within the console called Ask AWS. You can converse with Amazon Q from console, or you can also integrate with Slack or also IDE, where you can ask any questions about AWS as you start developing your applications. The underlying model is developed, is trained on 17 years worth of rich data to help customers with best practice recommendations as you develop applications. As you can see from console, you can access and you can ask any questions like how do I build a web application, and you can get a detailed answer with some references that you can refer. So this is essentially like bringing a two integrated experience. Instead of you doing context switches as going to Google search or Stack Overflow, within console or within IDE, you can accomplish this task. And coming to the create stage, which is like a development stage, this is where initially generative AI has started. So in fact, we had initially inline code completions. Formerly, we called it Amazon Code Whisperer to accelerate software development. As you give natural language prompts that based on your requirements, it brings with a snippet of code that you can customize it and adopt it. Not only that, Q developer can also help you to understand the existing code base. So you have a junior developer that is onboarding onto your code base, want to understand, okay, how this code functions, what are the features that it operates. So instead of having someone else sitting beside a junior developer, you can leverage Q developer to understand the existing code so that you can quickly accelerate like a feature development or onboard onto a code base, a new code base. Another key feature is you can also get customizable recommendations from your internal code base. So Q developer can also understand your internal code base and get recommendations from your organizational best practice standards as well too. As you can see, like we are giving a natural language prompt and we're able to see a result. So see, the other feature is with Amazon Q feature development, you can move from a simple natural language prompt to a fully functional feature within minutes. As you can see, from within IDE, you can prompt Q developer with a requirement of your feature, what kind of feature and what kind of functionality you want within your application. You can prompt that within IDE itself, popular IDEs such as JetBrains or VS Code. And within few minutes, Q will understand your entire code base, which is present within your workspace, and come up with a detailed plan and step-by-step instructions on how to implement that particular feature that you're asking, and come back with a code suggestion that you can customize it or adopt it. When you look at software development lifecycle, testing and securely deploying is a very key aspect. So we have been talking about security just even before the session. So it's important to detect any security issues early in the development lifecycle before it reaches production. So it's important to have a culture of true shift-left security so that you're detecting any vulnerabilities such as OWASP vulnerabilities or cross-site injection or SQL injection, cross-site scripting or SQL injection vulnerabilities such as. So you can develop, you can detect those vulnerabilities. Not only that, Q developer will continuously auto-scans your code base and propose recommendations. And not only that, it also generates some remediation plan on how to fix those vulnerabilities so that you have a true secure code actually before it gets deployed. So you are kind of essentially from within IDE, you're able to see what are the problems available within my code so that I can fix them before even it gets committed. So as you can see, you can see a prompt and you can get a recommendation. You can also get a remediation recommendation from Q developer. So as I said, software development lifecycle is a flywheel. So once you develop the application, once you go through all security scanning, you deploy and operate the application. So oftentimes you use series of AWS services. You may run into some issues. It could be a bug or some configuration error. So as of today, Q developer does support, does integrate with services such as Lambda, S3, and EC2, where you can diagnose and troubleshoot errors. So instead of your operations engineers or SRE teams spending time figuring out where the problem is, instead you can leverage Q troubleshooting capability from within console to get a detailed step-by-step instructions on how to approach in solving a problem when you encounter one in production, so that you can minimize your end user downtime. Not only that, it also integrates with VPC Analyzer in order to help assist troubleshooting network issues. So as you can see, we are just testing like a Lambda function. And as you can see, we have a troubleshoot with Amazon Q button launched. And as you click on that, it presents with a detailed analysis on what the problem is. And within a few minutes, it comes back with a list of instructions on how to approach in solving the problem. We also have Q developer code transformation that can help transform your code from one version to other version. So as of today, it supports Java version upgrades. We have .NET version upgrades coming soon. As I said, like software development lifecycle is a continuous process. It's a flywheel. So you have new version of packages, new version of softwares, so that developers or applications need to be upgraded so that you are getting latest and greatest features in terms of security, performance, cost, and other aspects. So Q code transformation can help you assist in upgrading from one version to a different version as well. So just to quote a recent stat, a 5-member Amazon team recently upgraded 1,000 applications from Java 8 to Java 17 in about 2 days. So that's the kind of power we are seeing with Q code transformation. So in summary, if you look at Amazon Q developer, it has very broad set of use cases. If I have to summarize the key use cases, the first thing is you can leverage Q developer features such as developer agent and Q code transformation in order to minimize or in fact retire technical debt at scale. If you have thousands of applications, you can leverage Q developer to kind of like upgrade and retire technical debt. In addition, it also helps IT professionals and software developers to accelerate software development, secure code development, so that you're able to move faster. Not only that, even DevOps engineers can use Q developer to write Terraform templates or CDK or CloudFormation in order to deploy and operate applications. And the last aspect is security. Is one of the key consideration as we deploy applications and operate. So Q can continuously scan your code base and propose any recommendations early in the development lifecycle, so that you're able to detect and remediate those vulnerabilities before even it reaches production and seeing your end users and minimizing any downtime as a result of security issues. So that's about Amazon Q developer and Amazon Q business, as Osama talked in short. So if you look at pricing, so Amazon Q developer comes in 2 subscriptions: Amazon Q developer free version, with which you can use a builder ID and subscribe. Just get a look at how it works. And we also have Amazon Q developer pro version, which comes at $19 per user per month. So unlike other AWS services, Q is based on a per user billing, per user and per month billing. And Amazon Q Business also comes in 2 subscription models. One is Q Lite, Amazon Q Business Lite, and Amazon Q Business Pro, which is at $20 per user per month, with full capabilities, including integrating with third-party plugins such as Osama mentioned, Zendesk and ServiceNow and others. So in summary, Amazon Q or generative AI application, the generative AI powered assistant from AWS, can help address the needs of different personas, be it non-technical or technical or IT professionals or software developers, acting as a true expert companion sitting beside you to boost the productivity. So that's all we have for today, and happy to take any questions.
Yeah, go ahead. So I think we had all the presentations now. I think the lunch is ready, but we'll do a little activity here, a little bit fun. So maybe say we can start that, and then we break for lunch.
Just, it's a quick voluntary picture, I think, and then we'll do just a quick survey. I'll put a post on a QR code for the survey and food.
Yeah. Let's do this little activity as well, and then we'll do picture as well afterwards.
A quiz, so
Perfect. And I think you're going to change the.
Just gonna put the QR code up there.
Perfect.
Okay, really quick. If you don't mind, please, we've got 10 questions to fill out. Let us know how we're doing. Each presenter, feedback, duration, food was good or not, things like that.